Right, the last sentence there. So, somebody give me their answer to question number 1. Which is what was meant by the celebrity industrial complex and what theoretical perspectives is similar to that we've talked about in the past. So let's start with the first part of the question. What's meant by the celebrity industrial complex and what specific things were they talking about in here?
I guess the obsession that normal people have with celebrity life and how it's put onto us by like the news and tabloids and magazines, stuff like that.
Okay, so that's good. So they mentioned magazines, and if you look at it, they talk about here on page 46, it says the magazine industry has gone through tremendous change in the past decade. In the 1990s, the celebrity magazine world was dominated by 2 glossies, People and Entertainment Weekly. And they have these mock-ups of this on TV. They have like Entertainment Tonight and Current Affair and all of this, which Current Affair is not specifically about celebrities, but it can be, or E! Entertainment Television. These magazines, characterized by tame feature stories, short reviews, and artfully shot and photoshopped images, lived or died by their cover stories, which were designed to promote a studio's latest blockbuster or an actor's breakthrough role. So what are they trying to say there? That these magazines were making celebrities look bad? What are they trying to say? That certain parts of the media do what for celebrities?
Glamorizes their whole life.
Huh?
Glamorizes their whole life.
Yes, and promotes their film. Like, look, how many here watch Conan O'Brien? Nobody. Poor Conan. It's over, dude. Sorry. You just have no youth demographic, and that's the death. I would say that's probably Oprah's problem. She is not connecting with young people as much. Anybody here watch Oprah? No? Too bad, Oprah. Anyway, but Conan O'Brien's show. What's the point of his show? Who does he have on his show? Huh? Dancing monkeys?
Celebrity.
Right? Which are sort of like dancing monkeys. Anyway, and what are they usually on there talking about? How to save the rainforest? What do they talk about?
Movies, albums.
Movies they're in, right? So it's a big promotional machine. So what perspective is that closer to? That we talked about. Remember in the first slideshow we talked about the differing perspectives about the media, symbolic interactionism, conflict theory, and functionalism.
Conflict theory?
Why?
Because they're these media companies, they own the television shows and the movie companies that they're making a movie, they want to promote their movie, so they put them on the shows that they own their TV stations with, trying to...
So in this equation, how do media executives view celebrities? As human beings, have real-world problems, or as commodities that as soon as they lose their value, they dump them to the curb?
They're like products.
Right, and they're products meant to sell other products. Like how many times do you see... George Clooney does voiceovers for like Ford. I would tell advertisers this. I'm not buying anything. And there's certain celebrities, they promote something, I'm not even going to touch it. Like if LeBron James is promoting something, I'm not interested. He's got these little strips you put in your mouth. These like little energy strips. Oh, seriously, he's doing this. Or like shoes or whatever. Or whatever. And like Charlie Sheen did an advertisement for
Fiat.
Yeah. And it's like, I don't think you're helping yourself with... For a lot of people, for me, I don't think that doesn't endear me to your product. Like, I'll tell you one thing that, this doesn't impact me, but I think it's a good idea. Michael Phelps is a gold medal winning swimmer, and regardless of what he got caught doing in the dormitory, and should anybody should be shocked at a 24-year-old athlete just smoking weed with his friends in a dorm room. Anyway, but he promotes McDonald's. Why is that a good idea for McDonald's to hire somebody like Michael Phelps instead of Roseanne Barr?
Show somebody that's actually physically fit.
Right.
McDonald's is not to be overrated.
And has McDonald's had problems with certain people in the media in the past, presenting them in a very negative light? Who was it, and what was the name of the movie? It was a huge hit. It's nauseating a lot. Right, where Morgan Spurlock, who's one of these like social commentary people, he does a show called 30 Days or something where he switches. He took a guy that didn't like immigrants and made him look like a day laborer and things like that. But he, for 30 days, ate McDonald's for every meal. And I want to say, he gain like 20 or 30 pounds, and he was having heart pain, and his liver was sick. And all kinds of stuff. And not only that, how much garbage he created. If you go to McDonald's, they don't recycle. You wonder why that's the case. I mean, McDonald's probably creates more garbage than 10,000 households. You know, I'm seriously. If you're ever driven by McDonald's, when is there ever not trash on the ground at McDonald's? Like around the trash cans and on the grass and stuff like that. After they just clean it?
I live on the street from McDonald's, and there's constantly like disgusting old like wrappers
Yep.
blowing down my street.
Noise, smells, kinds of stuff. There's one right off the highway in Queens, and there's a house like 4 feet away from it. And I feel sorry, and it's right next to the drive-thru, so all they hear is cars all day, and I'm pretty sure the drive-thru's open pretty late there. So anyway, but that celebrities are products to be used, and so it creates, I think, a sense of for celebrities that I'm being used to some extent, and I think that part of what Charlie Sheen, if you get past the crazy ranting, is talking about is how I think he feels used. I think also what it does is I think it creates a level of cynicism among the American public towards celebrities. That we don't, especially now, compare how people viewed celebrities in the 1950s to the way we view celebrities now. What was hidden from view in the 1950s? This is the same with JFK.
Like their whole behavior, what they did.
Right. So, unless they murdered somebody like Fatty Arbuckle did, they're not going to get into the press. Marilyn Monroe's drug issues didn't get into the press. Some of her some of the relationship stuff sort of did. A lot of celebrity, Judy Garland's drug issues, alcoholism, Rock Hudson's homosexuality, which was not appropriate at the time. You know, I want to say Rock Hudson even got married to a woman to hide his homosexuality or something like that. So part of this is, I think, the interest of the public in people's personal lives. I think it's also an attempt to exploit celebrities' personal lives. So this is the way most media companies view celebrities as products. That I can sell them in movies, and I can get them to sell products, and when they blow up, like Lindsay Lohan, I can make money by doing news stories about them. Or tabloid journalism like TMZ. Which, if you actually watch TMZ, does TMZ really make celebrities look that bad? I think the news makes celebrities look... CNN does more of a job on celebrities, right? You know, TMZ is more when they're out at a restaurant, right? Maybe some of them are a little drunk, but they don't really ask them tough questions. And when they do, I think I mentioned this before, one of the guys was getting on Joe Pesci's case, and Joe almost started a fight with him, you know, and I don't think Joe Pesci's probably somebody, he looks like he's probably crazy when he gets mad, that he'd like forget what he did, you know, like some people black out when they get angry. So some of these, I think these celebrity paparazzi know, if you press these celebrities, they're going to hit you. I mean, Kanye already hit several people, okay, and this is nothing new. Didn't Randy Johnson grab a reporter by, that's why he didn't make it in New York. Did he grab him by the throat, or?
Like shoved them.
Yeah. So, you know, there's an uneasy kind of relationship between the celebrity industrial complex and the celebrities themselves and the public. It's really a strange dynamic. Yes?
Could it also be like functionalist? Because I said it was like entertainment, and that's like an escape for people.
Yeah, you can see it that way. I'd accept that as an answer. That's fine. But it does ignore the element of that this is an attempt to control people. Like, one of the things that celebrities try to sell is a lifestyle of materialism. And they also try to sell the American dream. Like, with Justin Bieber is the ultimate... People talk about Horatio Alger and all this other stuff, like these old stories of the American dream, or like, you know, stories of J.P. Morgan, how he came from nothing. The ultimate American... And I love this, because what nationality is Justin Bieber?
Canadian.
Yeah. So, a Canadian represents the ultimate concept of the 21st century American dream. And that comes to question number 2. So what 2 ways can average people use to get famous? 2 main ways that they discussed. And we'll get back to this chapter in a minute. How did Justin Bieber get famous?
YouTube.
Right. What's the other way? How did I'm trying to think of some people. What was Joe Millionaire? You guys remember that?
Yeah.
Or who was that one? Heidi and Spencer. Who are those 2 people? Remember those 2 people? Right. How did they get famous?
Yeah.
Yep. And look, there's 308 million people in this world. There's only one president. There's only so many actors who can be famous. There's only so many sports positions, professional sports positions. There's only so much stuff you can view on YouTube, and the stuff that gets viral on YouTube is really strange. But in general, the celebrity world and the media world sells people this idea. Hey, like it's what we call. I'm telling you right now, you got a better chance of winning the Powerball lottery than you do to end up like Justin Bieber. I'm telling you right now. You got a better chance of winning a scratch-off lottery than you do the American Idol. I'm telling you. Okay? There have been people who've won $500,000 off of scratch-off tickets twice in their life. Okay? I doubt. And again, I almost bet you there will be very few other Justin Biebers. Name 5 celebrities that got famous that way. It doesn't happen that way. And look at the American Idols. Are these the biggest stars in the world? Is Fantasia and Clay Aiken and all this other stuff, and Ruben Stoddard and Kelly Clarkson, are these the biggest people in the world? Are they the most important celebrities in the world? Some of them are absolutely nowhere to be found, are they? What happened to Jordan Sparks? Where's she? Who's the last one that won it? And now there's a bunch of shows. There's the X Factor, there's America's Got Talent, right? There's The Voice. So it's dumbing down and watering this stuff down. And what happens in the media world is what we call isomorphism. And here it explains this here a little bit here. It says, in the early 2000s, however, things began to change. The magazine started focusing on the personal lives of a handful of stars and star couples. Brad Pitt and Jennifer Aniston. Brad Pitt's always in here. Brad Pitt and Angelina Jolie, otherwise known as Brangelina. Jennifer Aniston and Vince Vaughn. Jennifer's in a lot of these too. Ben Affleck and Jennifer Lopez, Jessica Simpson and Nick Lachey, and I would say one thing, Jessica Simpson, they had a show, and I only saw one little clip, and it was one of the most famous clips, and it's something that haunts Jessica Simpson to this day. She thought tuna was chicken because it said chicken of the sea on the outside of the, like Star Kissed or Star whatever the hell it is, that says chicken of the sea, and she goes, this doesn't taste like chicken. Did anybody see this scene? I mean, and Nick got up and was like, "Oh my God!" And he went into the kitchen, and you could see what? I don't know. I don't think that was the reason they got divorced, but I can assure you that did not assist their marriage. I mean, and Nick Lachey's not exactly Professor Emeritus in chemistry or something. This is not the smartest guy in the world either. But man, and I don't think she was pretending, which is kind of frightening. But whatever. And she still acts like a goofball to this day. Didn't she do something goofy the other day? What show is she on right now? Is she on a show?
Not like a fashion show.
Yeah, something like that. And she's pregnant or something. Right? Whose baby is it? Does she even know?
Football player?
Is she married to this person?
Engaged.
To who? Who is it? Does anybody know?
She's not.
I could look it up.
Wasn't she going out with Tony Romo at one point? Anyway. Britney Spears and Kevin Federline. The magazine slavered over these storylines which cast the stars in immediately identifiable roles in weekly mini-dramas. The all-American hunk, the exotic temptress, the adorable wronged wife, the funny but not as attractive guy who catches her on the rebound. I guess that's Billy Bob Thornton or something. The business of celebrity gossip also took a darker turn around this time. In 2000, US Magazine, or Us Magazine, originally a monthly, became Us Weekly. So if Us Week goes from a monthly magazine to a weekly magazine, now what do they need that they're going to have to manufacture? You went from publishing 1 magazine a month to 4. What do you need?
A lot
more stories and more writers.
So what if you can't find a good story? What do you need to do now?
Make them up.
Or go make stories. You need to go confront celebrities. Or stand outside their house. Or dig through their trash. Or do what Rupert Murdoch's company was. Tip off police when celebrities, they were paying police off. To go, hey, when a celebrity gets arrested, give us a call. Right, tell us what happened. Right, do you think that they found out? Remember, those of you maybe don't remember. Mel Gibson got drunk and got arrested for drunk driving one night. And he got locked in the back of a police car because he was being violent. And he went on about a 15 or 20 minute anti-Semitic rant. Like, do this, and blah, 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 and effing blah, 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 blah. And went on like crazy. And the only reason why that got out, who do you think told? The police told. And if one of them was Jewish, you bet they were trying to make him look bad. And Mel Gibson later, and he works in Hollywood, where there are a fair amount of Jewish directors and producers, right? And actors as well. Do you think that went over well? with Steven Spielberg? You think he forgave him? You think George Lucas, don't worry about it, man? Jerry Seinfeld was like, that happens to everybody. Like the Michael, did I show you the Michael Richards rant? I showed you that, right? But again, so the media feeds off of this stuff that like bloodsuckers, and if you have a magazine that went from a monthly to a weekly, now I need more junk. And now, instead of just focusing on one issue on the Mel Gibson thing, maybe I focus on it for 5 or 6 weeks. And it makes it look worse than it really was or something, or makes Mel look worse, or whatever. Funny thing is, Mel's still making movies, he's still making money. So I don't think he probably lives in Hollywood anymore. And immediately threatened people with its more tabloid gossip approach. So what we have here is competition, and what you have when you have competition is that companies start to actually act more alike. And sort of take it to the next level. Like, oh, you got E! Entertainment Television with Soup, with the Daily Soup or whatever it is. Oh, I got TMZ now. Or, oh, you got the, whatever, Entertainment Tonight. Here's National Enquirer TV, which they don't have, which they should have probably, right? To some extent. People would watch that. I'm waiting for a celebrity-only channel, but that's essentially what E! Entertainment anyway. In quick succession came a swarm of new competitors. In Touch in 2002, Life and Style 04, and the relaunched tabloid Star 04. I believe that is owned by Rupert Murdoch's company. Transformed by former U.S. Weekly editor Bonnie Fuller, these magazines weren't afraid to dig up dirt, publish unflattering photos, or deconstruct the glamour of the celebrity lifestyle. I'm going to write a note to myself. I'm going to bring in one of these Star junk magazines. Thank God they got the self-checkout line. It's embarrassing to actually buy those things in front of people. One year I was doing a class on gender and media, and I wanted to show people the teen magazines, so I went to the store, bought a bunch of teen magazines, and the guy at the counter was looking at me like, what the hell are you buying these teen magazines for? So I think I even explained it to him, because his body language was like creeposaurus, like he was going to call the cops on me or something. It's like, dude, I think I told him that I had teenage daughters or some nonsense. Anyway. Other magazines like OK, whose editor is a former celebrity publicist, responded by carving out a niche for more star-friendly coverage, working with celebrities and their management to offer a positive slant no matter what the story. Like if a celebrity gets arrested for drugs, maybe they talk about how they had a troubled past and how they're going into rehab, instead of going, Lindsay Lohan, monster at night, or whatever, freaks come out at night, or whatever it is. Just like making Lindsay Lohan's latest horrible life decisions, like that kind of stuff, just pounding on celebrities. The competition changed the nature of the celebrity magazine business. Editors had to decide whether they wanted to fight for celebrity exclusives, spending top dollar and providing flattering coverage in order to get the best stories, or forego future favor trading in order to break gossipy and possibly unflattering stories that were more likely to shock fans and bolster sales. Celebrities, too, quickly learned to play the game, countering unauthorized story with more flattering portrayals and a celebrity-friendly press. So both things are going on. The celebrity is both friendly and aggressive and has a high level of animosity. And the public, I think, feels similarly about celebrities. I think both the celebrities both love and hate, the public both loves and hates celebrities. Hates the way someone behaves, hates the example they present for their children, but loves the work they do. Or maybe the other way. Maybe they love them as, Charlie Sheen justifies their lifestyle. If you're a drug addict, he's probably one of your favorite people, because he makes your drug addiction look like it's not that big of a deal, doesn't it? It's like at Cheers, the TV show Cheers. The reason why they had Norm on that show was to make everybody's alcoholism look less like alcoholism. Because all he did was sit there and drink beer all day and all night. Anyway. In this competitive new landscape, the magazines worked overtime to chase the latest dish, the more intimate the better, even if there was nothing to the story but an ambiguous photo and a huge helping of speculation. If Jennifer Aniston was snapped at the grocery store, headlines would blare, Jen woos Vince with romantic dinner. If two stars were photographed kissing hello, even in passing, the mags would put them in the middle of a torrid affair. By 2005, a spate of celebrity pregnancies gave the paparazzi a new target. It goes on 49. As the tabloids became increasingly popular and profitable, mainstream media, here's the key. Not that there's an expansion of tabloid press, is it? It's more important that what the impact the tabloid press has had on the mainstream press, isn't it? Many people, especially news purists, feel CNN should never, ever, ever talk about someone like Anna Nicole Smith. Not because she's like some blonde Playboy model, but because they shouldn't talk about celebrities unless George Clooney's talking about Sudan or something. Right? Or unless one of them kills somebody. Okay? Mainstream media couldn't ignore the allure of using celebrity to sell issues. Music magazines like Rolling Stone, Blender, and Vibe have long featured celebrities on the cover. The more scantily clad, the better. And the new generation of men's magazines like Maxim have lured an increasing number of famous young women to pose provocatively for them, including Danica Patrick. These days, the trend has spread to news, fashion, home, health, even literary and cultural magazines. In the past few years, celebrities have increasingly graced the covers of magazines like Domino, Women's Health, even poets and writers. The Atlantic, one of the most culturally significant journals of reporting and opinion in American history, devoted a recent cover story to Britney Spears with the headline "The Britney Show." Okay, and it goes on to talk about the impact on television as well. It's similar. Okay, now let's go back to what we were doing last time. Remember, we stopped about 15 minutes in with this Charlie Sheen interview, and what I want to do before we get to the Charlie Sheen interview. You know what, I think we'll do it after, but what we're going to do afterwards, I will show this to you briefly. We're going to talk about these characteristics of narcissism. So I want you just to pay attention to some of the things he's saying about himself, about his circumstance, about how he has control of his drug addiction or not, his relationship with his family, how he lives his life, and how he thinks of the media's view of him. So we will watch the video, and then we'll come back to these characteristics and go down each one of them and see which ones Charlie Sheen is displaying. With narcissistic personality disorder, if you have 5 or more of these characteristics you display, you have a severe disorder. If you have all 9 of them, like someone like Hitler, you are a danger not only to yourself, but to others in society. Most serial killers score very high on narcissistic personality disorder inventories. And again, these are the factors that Dr. Drew and Dr. Young were testing with the narcissistic personality inventory itself. All right, so let's go back to the Charlie Sheen interview. If you remember last time, he was talking about, they were talking a little bit about his early life, how he cleaned up a little bit, and they were also talking about the parties he was throwing.
He says his wild ride started right from birth.
I was born dead. Get on that one for a second.
What do you mean?
Yeah, umbilical cord, those like floppy baby, the whole thing. Yeah, it was bad.
See, is Charlie suffering from this, and are celebrities in general suffering from this? If it's just one celebrity and Charlie is the exception to the rule, I don't think this maybe is that big of a problem. And you see as well, what television show was this put on? Was this TMZ or E! Entertainment Television? What channel was this, essentially? What news outlet was it? It was ABC News, and it was a section. It was a series called 2020. What stories does 2020 usually do? And this was their whole episode this day. Does anybody know what stories 2020 usually does? Take a guess what stories they do? Huh?
Political controversy.
Yeah, like maybe like fraud, or they'll do a story on Bernie Madoff, or a story on inflation. You know, like real hard, what we call hard news stories. And why they chose to do this was clearly profit. Were they helping Charlie Sheen necessarily? Maybe a little. They certainly were letting him. The subtitle of the program was Charlie in his own words. So they were at least giving him a forum, right? Did she say, "Charlie, what's in that glass?" Did you see the glass of fruit punch that he was drinking? Those of you think back, do adults in general drink fruit punch with no ice in it? What percentage of like grown adult men do you think do that? 4%?
Yeah.
So is it most likely there was alcohol in that glass? Or maybe dissolved cocaine inside. I don't know. I heard you can drink meth like that. That's Andre Agassi tried to tell people. He actually snorted it though. Anyway, all right, so let's go down here and we'll talk about, so remember some of the things that Charlie Sheen said about himself and about other people. Because one of the issues is narcissism not only impacts the individual that is being narcissistic, but just as importantly impacts their primary and secondary social groups, as well as the society at large. A society that has a high percentage of people who have a high level of narcissistic personality disorder is not a place you want to be. That's like Nazi Germany. Okay? Those people thought they were right, and you weren't going to tell them any different. You think Hitler ever thought he was wrong about something? You think he woke up in the morning and said, let's do evil, man. I'm so evil. Maybe I should stop doing this stuff. It is wrong to put people in concentration camps. That's what narcissism can do to you. It is a sickness in the brain at a lot of levels. And it's a sickness in your relationships with other people. That narcissistic people use people in a manner that they see fit. Man, that thing's making me blind. Anyway. So this is from the article that I put a link to in the syllabus. This was actually written about Jim Jones, the cult leader of the Jonestown group, who essentially convinced about 1,000 people to willingly, voluntarily take poison. He also ordered the shooting and killing of Congressman Leo Ryan and several other people who came to investigate the group. So this was not the man of the year in Time magazine or anything by any means. This was a mass murder on some levels. They put Jim Jones up with Hitler. I don't know if I'd go that far, but anyway. So here's the general definition of narcissistic personality disorder: a pervasive pattern of grandiosity in fantasy or behavior, meaning either being delusional or in reality, need for admiration, lack of empathy. What's empathy?
The ability to put yourself in another person's shoes.
Right, so do you think racist people have high levels of empathy? You think sexist people have high levels of empathy? People who are antisocial, these people lack empathy, right? Like, you think those terrorists on 9/11 had empathy? Most likely not. So the lack of empathy is a serious problem for human beings, isn't it? That's probably worse than having a narcissistic society. If you have a society that is devoid of concern for others, the general other, not just your family and friends, okay? Because gangsters are nice to their family and friends. It doesn't make them good people. So I would say to people, if all you do is you're nice to your family and friends, how much better are you than everybody else? How much empathy do you really have? And when you have no empathy among leaders in a nation, or among business people, or among the general public, you have a lot of strife, you have a lot of anger, road rage, neighbors fighting each other. Does that happen a lot on this island? Do neighbors get into fights with each other? And pull guns and stuff? In Phoenix, when I lived, road rage was off the charts. You did not make hand gestures at people because they pull guns out on you. At least around here, I've never had anybody pull a gun on me on the road. I hope that God it never happens. Okay? Try not to do things that would make somebody want to do that. But sometimes people were just in a mood, you know. But I'm telling you, empathetic people do not pull guns out on people. Unless you're trying to kill a child or something. Then they're going to come after you. Beginning by early adulthood and present in a variety of contexts is indicated by 5 or more of the following. Number 1. So let's see if Charlie Sheen, how many of these he suffers from. Has a grandiose sense of self-importance. Example given, exaggerates achievements and talents, expects to be recognized as superior without commensurate achievements. Is that Charlie Sheen? Somebody give me an example of him having a grandiose sense of self-importance in anything he said there. Martin?
The whole Tiger Blood and...
Yeah, the Adonis Dean. Who's Adonis? You may know who Adonis is? I believe that's like one of the Greek gods of beauty or something like that. And in Tiger's Blood, he thinks he's not going to die. What about his sense of his importance on the show? Did he exaggerate that? Or did he not? with the ratings where they are.
Well, he felt like the show couldn't be made without it, but they're still making it. It's just not.
Right. So he's maybe a little bit right that the show is a lot less. Now, I'll defend Ashton Kutcher. That's not his type of character. He doesn't play that skeevy kind of slime ball. And he's a new character. He's not replacing. He's not Charlie Sheen's character. So by removing Charlie Sheen's character, the ladies' man, and he was essentially playing himself on the TV show. You remove a dramatic dynamic. It'd be like if you took the Big Bang Theory and you took Johnny Galecki's character out, Leonard, and tried to replace it with something. It would destroy it, even with Sheldon still there. So even with John Cryer still there, it damages the tension. But in general, his sense of importance. One of the things that came out. Do you guys remember what he did after he got fired from the show? He did something to generate attention and money. They didn't talk about this. He came to New York.
Can you go on tour?
Did it go well?
Yeah.
One of his first shows, he went to Detroit, and he made some snide comment about smoking crack, And it was like an insult. It was like, man, this is the right place to be smoking crack or something like that. You know, Detroit is it's a rough town. I mean, it looks like RoboCop or something like that. It looks like Mad Max. I've been to Detroit many times, and it is probably the and this is saying something with Buffalo and Cleveland in the mix. It is probably the ugliest city in the United States, but just physically ugly. And you don't go making comments about welfare, unemployment, or crack smoking and stuff like that in a place where unemployment in some areas is 50%. He came to New York and he didn't go over very well either. People who said they saw the show said it was just self-promoting and narcissistic. He did go over well in Cleveland. Can anybody tell me why?
It's a major league.
Yeah, and he wore a Cleveland Indians uniform. And believe it or not, after that movie, the Cleveland Indians eventually got to the World Series, like 5 or 6 years after that movie was done. So people see him as people are silly with sports teams. Like my friend thinks if I play this Rita Hayworth song that his team will hit a home run. And I think people thought because of the movie that's what made Cleveland, the Indians, better because they got a lot of attention. But they were making fun of the Indians as the worst franchise in baseball. Okay? Anyway. It's good to see the Mets doing well. Anyway. Number 2 is preoccupied with fantasies of unlimited success, power, brilliance, beauty, or ideal love. Is that what's going on there? Remember when she asked him what goes on at the Silver whatever Valley house or whatever? What did he say?
He was saying it was all about love and family.
But he also said stuff like perfect food and all, like all this stuff and great love and all. Like he was creating this reality it was nothing but love and peace and happiness and dreaminess and all the food is good and everything goes well here and he said it's the element of cleaning and purity and stuff here. Number 3, believes that he or she is special and unique and can only be understood by or should associate with other special or high status people. Specific examples of that with Charlie.
He said he has a unique brain that hardly anyone can understand.
Right, in the very beginning he said, I'm on a drug, it's called Charlie Sheen. It's not sold in stores. And the tiger's blood comments, all that kind of stuff. That he said, look, he was essentially saying to America, hey, this isn't your normal, but it's my normal, and I'm special, and I can do all these drugs and not die. I would say, take a look at Amy Winehouse, okay? Take a look at Heath Ledger. Those people were younger than you, Charlie, 20 years younger than you. And you know what Charlie would say if I said that to him personally? He'd say, go ahead, Tristan. Go ahead.
They're not special.
Or that just proves I'm special because I've been doing more drugs than them and I'm 20 years older than them, right? And then he would say that, yeah, Heath Ledger must not have had tiger's blood, right? Probably shouldn't have been hanging around the Olsen twins either. Not a good thing. Anyway, number 4 requires excessive admiration. Is that Charlie? How many girlfriends did he have? You think those were the only women he was sleeping with? Does he seem like he needs a lot of attention? Like I'm sure it was about money, but that little tour was about attention, right? I don't think he made a lot of money. I think he might have lost money. Number 5, has a sense of entitlement, unreasonable expectations of especially favorable treatment, or automatic compliance with his or her expectations. Is that the case? Any specific examples here?
He thinks he's going to get $250 million.
What about his relationship with the police? He's violated the law several times. Does he feel he should go to jail? Doesn't seem like it to me, does it? Right? I mean, he wrecked the plaza. And I don't think I really need to make this point, but I will anyway. If any of you would have been doing coke in the plaza and threw a lamp and broke something and got accused of choking, do you think you would even be out of jail right now? Did they even arrest him, really? And I love this. When do the police ever give you the chance, if they catch you drunk driving or on drugs, to go to the hospital or go to jail? What is this, training day? I wish Denzel Washington was around. I'm going to go home and I'm going to jail. Right? Remember when he shot him in the ass? That was hilarious. Anyway. Thought he was King Kong. You want to talk about narcissism? Denzel Washington's character in that movie is a perfect example of a narcissist, isn't he? Remember when he pointed the gun and told him to smoke the weed? Anyway. Number 6 is interpersonally exploitative, takes advantage of others to achieve his or her own needs. Is that Charlie? Give me an example of when he exploited somebody. you could say that the whole crew, you know, he used it for his own fame and money, and he didn't. Look, if you're any actor will tell you this. And part of this is because he's Charlie Sheen, so he comes from a Hollywood family. If you mess up in an acting job, there are 10,000 other actors that are probably could be as talented as you if given the chance, who are waiting right outside the door. And I think Charlie doesn't care about that he was putting in jeopardy everything. And he blamed it on Chuck Lorre. He said, "Oh, now you're blowing it for you." And he thinks it was like, dude, you went on a 3-day bender and didn't show up for work. What else? Is he exploiting his ex-wives or his girlfriends or anything like that? Maybe they're exploiting him. Who knows? He certainly seems like he's exploiting the media. Okay. Number 7, and if we knew more about his personal life, maybe that'd be different. Number 7, lacks empathy, is unwilling to recognize or identify with the feelings and needs of others. Did Charlie Sheen recognize any of the criticisms that were lobbied at him by his co-stars or his family or his friends? Remember at the very beginning he talked about the celebrities had called him, his dad had called him. Did he listen to his dad? Did he seem to have any sympathy or empathy on that model who almost dropped dead at the party? What did he say about her, remember? What did he say when
he called her like a troll or something?
He basically, or something like that, and he basically said, "Hey, that's not my problem." And I think he even said something like, "She had the time of her life until they put her in the ambulance." Right? He's like, he was essentially saying, "I didn't make people do this stuff. I don't care. That's not my problem." Right? Anyway, do you think he cares that John Cryer's career has been destroyed? Poor John Cryer. Wasn't he? He was in Pretty in Pink, right? Have you ever seen his Duckman? Right? Anyway, he's been in a lot of those. He was in a lot of those '80s movies and stuff like that. So, anyway, like Andrew McCarthy and James Spader. Number 8 is often envious of others or believes others are envious of him or her. Is that the case?
He thinks everyone's jealous of him.
Right, and he thinks that's why people don't like him. He thinks that's why Chuck Lorre did all this garbage to him, right? I don't know if he's envious of others. He certainly thinks others are envious of him because of girls and all this stuff. He keeps saying, "I'm a rock star," right? He keeps saying that stuff, right? Shows arrogant, haughty behaviors or attitudes. I think that one's pretty self-evident, isn't it? You don't go around, calling yourself Charlie Sheen and all this other stuff. A couple other things here as well. With narcissists, dangerous types of narcissists. So Charlie appears to have a dangerous form of narcissistic personality disorder. He seems to display all of these characteristics. Fortunately for Charlie, there's a couple main types of narcissists. There's sort of extroverted, vain narcissists who are really only interested in looking good and having attractive people around them and having money and really just making other people look bad by looking better than them. And they're not violent people. They don't engage in revenge fantasies. Many times these people are successful people, and that's the thing that prevents them from getting into revenge fantasies. Other narcissists are more introverted narcissists who were severely abused as children and used narcissism as a defense mechanism, like people like Hitler and Jim Jones, who their goal for narcissism is so they can define the rest of the world as wrong and I am right, and anybody who stands before me is the enemy. And it reminds me of in Karate Kid 2. The enemy deserves no mercy. That was actually in the first, not the one with Will Smith's son, the real one with Ralph Macchio in it. An enemy deserves no mercy, and dangerous, introverted, violent narcissists like Hitler have revenge fantasies against people. They will, like Richard Nixon, he kept a list of everybody who insulted him in his entire life. And when he got a chance to get at them, he did. He audited people's taxes. He had people arrested on trumped-up charges. He had them bugged. All kinds of stuff. Narcissism many times breeds paranoia and violence. But it doesn't appear that is the case here. They're more talking about the first type of narcissism. The narcissism that engages in things like entitlement, where people think that, oh, I can drink and drive because I can handle it. Or, I should be the best just because I'm the best looking, not because I did any work for it. Or, I should be famous because my personality is so magnificent. That type of stuff. Or, conversely as well, people like Michael Jordan or Tiger Woods, Charlie Sheen, who do have discernible talents and that people recognize, but they let it get out of control. Okay, Jordan, I had a friend from Israel, and he works up at McGill University now. He was a big basketball fan. In Israel, among his friends, they called Michael Jordan God. Like some people call Eric Clapton, if you've ever seen this, people call Eric Clapton God. First of all, if you're a really religious person, that is the most offensive thing you could say to a lot of people. Secondarily, that shows a real lack of understanding of who Michael Jordan is. He might be a basketball god when he's on the court, but he has a compulsive gambling problem. He seems to be a womanizer. He's a bad father. He's incredibly narcissistic and arrogant towards people. This is, from every report I have ever seen, he is one of the most annoying, despicable, arrogant people you'd ever hang around with. And guess what? Him and Charles Barkley are the ones that set Tiger Woods on this little path. He was hanging around with him in Vegas, and they were ribbing him because they were like, oh, hey, house husband and stuff like that. And saying, man, you're married with kids, your life's over. You're Tiger Woods, you can go sleep with all these women. And so they set him on this path, and he shouldn't have been listening to either one of them. And he hasn't talked to either one of them since. And Barkley made a big deal about this. You know Barkley, he never shuts up about it. I don't know what to think about Barkley. I think he's got some of these characteristics, but he also is self-deprecating. He makes fun of himself, so it's hard. It's like Conan O'Brien. He's both arrogant and self-deprecating at the same time. But anyway, these things can creep in, and we'll talk more about social contagion when we come back on Thursday. But in general, I think that Dr. Drew and Dr. Young are pointing out something very crucial here: that it appears that this is contagious, that it is spreading. And that narcissism is very alluring. What's attractive about narcissism? You think you wouldn't want to be somebody that other people wouldn't want to be around, and most narcissistic people, you don't want to be around these people. What's attractive about narcissism?
Because most people that are successful are also narcissists.
So there's a connection between, maybe some people are mistaking this connection between, in order to be successful you need to be narcissistic. What also is attractive to narcissism to the individual themselves, like in their private life or personal life? What's it make you feel like when you're narcissistic? What do you think? Yeah, you're better than everybody else, and that makes you feel better. So when someone does something rude to you, you think, well, that's because they're a slob, not because I was being rude to them. Or a woman or a man breaks up with you, and you think, oh, it's because they're stupid, right? And I'll get them back. You're going on the list. I bet Charlie Sheen's got a list. I'd like to see it. So, anyway. Alright, any questions about that? Okay, everybody, keep up with the reading. We'll have a quiz on Thursday. And I'll see you on Thursday. Everybody have a good day. I'll turn in your quizzes, please. Thank you. Extra shower usually. You put some cologne or something on. You wear your best clothes. You don't take somebody to McDonald's on the first date. You don't even take them to Red Lobster. You want to impress them. Maybe even take them to a Broadway show or whatever. And this goes on for a while. And people go, "Isn't so and so great?" And they hide things like their anger. Some people have anger issues. So, which is a very bad. I told my sister this when she married her husband. I said, Tara, for the first 6 or 7 months that you dated, your future husband, did he hide his anger? And then all of a sudden it started to come out little by little? And she was like, yeah. I was like, I would be concerned if you start dating a man who is all too calm, like the ocean before the storm. Like, oh, that's okay. Don't worry about that. Because it's a role. They're playing a role. That's a role. And most women, I think, know that. It's part of the game, and most men know that women play games and things like that. So, anyway. So difficulty maintaining relationships are more likely to have mood disturbances, which can lead to things like suicide and also things like murder. Almost all serial killers suffer from narcissistic personality disorder. It is almost universal. Hitler had narcissistic personality disorder. You want to talk about somebody who was narcissistic? You couldn't tell Hitler anything. You did not argue with Hitler. I think you're wrong about that. You end up in the gas chamber. And eventually people started to realize Stalin was the same way too. Okay? Nixon was the same way. I'm not saying Nixon didn't commit the crimes that Stalin and Hitler did, but given the right circumstance, he might have. Gravitate towards high drama, like yelling and stuff. Who was the supermodel who threw her cell phone at someone's head? Was that Naomi Campbell? I keep mixing her up with Tyra Banks, which is... Because Tyra, I don't think, would do something like that, but I've heard she's a bit of a diva. Supposedly Oprah's kind of a lunatic. And like, Oprah's like, you don't talk about arguing with people. You don't argue with Oprah. She says go get her coffee. You don't go, that's not my job. He's like, yes, ma'am, what do you want in that coffee? Should I run? Anyway. And then also a much higher likelihood of using drugs and alcohol to excess, which is one of the issues here that Drew, obviously being a specialist in this area. And what they're suggesting with this alcoholism and drug abuse thing is that it leads to what? In the general population. What's it lead to? Huh?
Similar behavior.
By individual, especially young people who are many times impressionable. So do you think it's wrong for Lady Gaga to go out on television and say that she used drugs and that she still does and that she enjoys some of them and stuff? Is that wrong? Let me put it another way. Which one is worse? Michael Bloomberg saying that he smoked pot and loved it when he was a kid? Or Lady Gaga saying something like that? So maybe we're now comparing celebrities a little bit. Because they would not doubt the fact that there's some effect. Who do you think has more effect on young people? Michael Bloomberg saying it? Or Lady Gaga? But what's the danger of Michael Bloomberg saying it? Like, Lady Gaga is probably the issue because they're closer in age, they feel affinity, they love her music. Maybe it's not, oh, Lady Gaga does drugs, so I'll do it. What's the danger of someone like Michael Bloomberg, or David Patterson said he did coke, Obama said he did smoked weed? What's the danger of having high-profile institutional authority figures saying stuff like this? What does it do in addition to Lady Gaga?
Well, like they're really successful, so maybe
Yeah.
it looks like...
There's a big problem
Yeah.
right there. All the things your parents tell you about smoking pot starts to go up in their face. Plus, this is a man who's supposed to be enforcing the laws of the city, or like if it's the president, the laws of the federal government, admitting that when he was a kid, he repeatedly violated the law and has no remorse whatsoever about it. Jerry Brown, same way too, the current governor of California. The state troopers reported in his official subpoena that they saw him doing cocaine while he was governor. So Drew and Young here are very concerned about that this is behavior that's going to be picked up, especially with their line of work. This may sound like just another day in the tabloid life of Britney Spears, Lindsay Lohan, or Paris Hilton, but it also sounds like the story of too many regular people who call into my radio shows every day seeking advice, who offer themselves up as reality show contestants competing for their chance to perform in front of an audience, or who post shocking photos, stories, and videos of themselves on the internet. They've forgotten one element of celebrities. What also do celebrities dabble in that's probably a concern for parents of young children? It's a specific type of deviance. Some people don't find this to be deviant behavior. What was the subject of Dr. Drew's show?
Sexual behavior.
Yeah, sexual behavior. That it's okay to have, if you get a threesome, yeah, that's something to put on your belt, right? That's something to be proud about. That women should all engage in some kind of lesbian behavior while they're in college, or that people should go to spring break and sleep with strangers without using a condom. Very dangerous behavior, not only suggested by the celebrities' behavior themselves, but also where else do you see sex being presented in a glorified light without some of the negatives? What have we been talking about this whole time? Right, so on television, Sex and the City, there ain't no condoms on that show. Okay? I think some of you said once or twice they discussed this or something. And it was probably Sarah Jessica Parker's character, because I don't think Kim Cattrall's character cares. Do you? Does she sleep with everybody on the show? Isn't that her thing? Okay. Kim Cattrall was an actress in the early 80s, so I don't know how old she is. So it's